Hi again, everybody. This video is sponsored by contribution from Rose, and here's her story. Will he try to contact me again? I have reason to believe that my emotionally abusive ex is a narcissist. He fits the description of a covert narcissist very well. When I first met him, he seemed wonderful, loving, selfless, and mirrored my personality. I thought I had met someone amazing. During our relationship, there were little red flags he would sometimes drop that suggested he was a narcissist. For example, he was known for going out of his way for helping people, like a lot. He would always be on the phone to his friends helping them with issues. However, when he talked about the people he helped, he would do so in a belittling manner, in such a vile way. I once listened to him in shock as he described one of his friends as a vain, narcissistic, pathetic person who wasn't capable of holding a stable relationship, who wasn't at all as talented as he thinks he is. This friend is a musician. My ex told me he understands why this person has so many problems because of all these reasons, and that's why he helped him. He acted like his friendship was his God-given gift to his obviously useless friend. I also listened to him as he said that he only cared about five people: me, his two best friends, his mother, and his brother. He said how everyone else he said how everyone else he only had around, and he didn't really care about them at all. I asked, what about Ethan, one of his friends that I assumed he was very close to? He reacted by saying kind of, but not really, and again stating that he only pretended to care. At his job, he's a team manager, and I could see just how much he liked to control and belittle and patronize the people who worked for him. I heard from one of his friends that although he was an incredibly nice, caring guy, his only faults were that he would often go around telling one how much better he is than other people simply because this person has a differing opinion or a slight defect. His friend also said that he would act very differently around different people. For example, when he was around her, as she was quiet and quite introverted, he would act quiet and introverted also until another person came along and he would act exactly like them, instead mirroring people's personalities. This is something um, my mother does, drunky, where I've said she really has no personality whatsoever other than mirroring whoever she's with. She's like a chameleon. So she blends in, and this is what this guy does. He blends in to mirror whatever personality is in front of him. And on the same vein, he goes out of his way to help people, acts like he's their friends to their face, and then tears them down behind their backs. It's the same thing my parents did. You know, they'd be hanging out, they have these quote unquote friends. Yet when the second they were out the door or away from these friends, all they would do was shit talk. Shit talk, shit talk, shit talk, shit talk, shit talk, shit talk everybody. I mean that is a pretty basic narcissistic tactic. He would tell me and yell at me in front of other people how I was a fucking stupid child, treat me like a child, act like I was incapable of making my own decisions, and in some cases made me feel as though he had to make my decisions for me because I was being incompetent. For example, if I was at a makeup shop, he would tell me all the makeup I had picked out looked disgusting and then make me put it back. He would continue to do this until he would tell me I was taking too long picking out things I wanted, and then acted like I was wasting his time and making him pick up and making him pick out things for me. This is only a light taste of how manipulative he would turn out to he would later turn out to be. I recall a time when we were having a regular conversation, and then out of nowhere he decided to yell at me. You really think anyone cares about you? You really think you're important enough to anyone? Are you fucking ridiculous? Or something along those lines. He once went He once went on and on about how I was a moody bitch when he knew other people could hear. He did a lot of the verbal abuse in front of other people, and it seemed to make him happy that he knew that they could hear. He would often say things like, I love you and I don't want you to change, but you're really inconsiderate towards me and my feelings, and then go on to continually point out my shortcomings. He would point out my shortcomings and defects randomly, almost for no reason. He would make me apologize for things I already said sorry for, and apologize for things that weren't my fault, and blame his actions on me. He would lie to me, give me the silent treatment for days, gaslight me. If I did something wrong to him, he would tell me, I didn't think you were the kind of person to do this. I can't love someone who does this. And say, I'm 20 years old. I don't have time for your petty issues, in order to show me how much better he was, how much better than me he was. I am 17, by the way, and was 16 when I first met him. We were both from the UK, so this is legal. I didn't realize you were that young. He would always say this when I pointed out his bullshit, abusive actions. I was only truly there to feed his ego and nothing else. I am sorry I spent so much time of this email on the details of what he said and how he acted. I'm sure I wasted a lot of your time. No, you haven't. Look, before I even read the rest of this, I'm going to say this to you. You're a 17-year-old girl, and I understand how you're feeling. And yeah, this guy is definitely acting like a narcissist, and he's definitely showing all the signs of narcissistic personality disorder, or one of the disorders in that spectrum. I understand that. But, and this might be hard for you to hear, and I'm sure you've heard it before. Okay, but believe me, you're 17. Do not put too much stock in a relationship at your age with a 20-year-old. You know, relationships at this age are, you're learning. You're learning how to date. You're learning how relationships work. Um, I'm going to tell you this. At 17, if he's doing this to you already, it's not even worth it. It's not even worth it. You're too young, and you have no attachments to this dude to be this concerned over it. Move on. Move on. He kept having sex with me, even though I told him, oh, wait a minute. To get to the point, our relationship ended when we had an argument over something very serious. He kept having sex with me, even though I told him I was in pain, and because he had given me the silent treatment for a week because I made a joke. I was in such depression and was so confused and depressed, I turned to someone both of us knew to help about the issue. She responded with, why would you want to tell someone they raped you? And called my narcissist what I had told her. Big mistake, I know, but please keep in mind, I was so depressed and desperate. I needed any help I could get. Please don't judge me. Being naive, I thought to myself, well, he is loving, kind, and caring. He will surely see my side of the story as well as his, and empathize the pain he had caused me. Second big mistake. Instead, he made the situation all about himself. When I described that the things he did and said to me, especially that event, had made me incredibly depressed to the point of being suicidal, made it hard for me to eat and sleep. That I was almost having constant panic attacks and anxiety and other kinds of trauma and flashbacks. He did not care at all. Instead, he guilt tripped me about making the joke and telling him and his friend about what he had done to me. yelled at me that I was disrespectful for making the joke and toxic for telling someone else what he put me through. When I told him I was depressed, he responds with, even when I was depressed, I would never have disrespected someone in the horrible way you just have disrespected me. When I asked for sympathy, he responded with, how dare you ask me when you have disrespected me in such a horrible and disgusting way. When I said, if you don't want to be friends anymore, then that's fine, he responded by, how fucking dare you say that's fine? Don't say that's fine, because it may be fine to you, but it's not fine to me. How dare you? Throughout the conversation, he showed me that he did not care about my pain and that he was only concerned about the situation, how their situation would affect him. When I apologized for telling his friend, he said, I forgive you. It's not the worst thing to happen to me, and worse things will happen to me. He said, you're acting like a victim or something, when he was playing the victim card himself, trying to one-up me on victimhood. He deflected all the blame on me and told me it was my fault. He ignored me when I pointed out and asked him why he lied to me. He ignored me when I pointed out his other sexually abusive actions. The next morning after this call ended, I was very, very angry that he did not apologize at all and messaged him demanding an apology. In the messages he sent me in our last conversation, he reacted like a 3-year-old child, sulking, acting like I have slighted him in an awful way, bursting into tears, lashing out, denying he even did anything wrong in the first place, then running off when I demanded an apology. Attached are some of the photos of our last conversation, considering I sent this email twice. Apologies if you also received the attachments twice. Please don't think he believes any of the nice things he says about me in the messages. He has previously yelled at me that I'm lazy and useless, and he doesn't at all believe what he says. He's lying. He promised me that he has cut himself out of my life completely. I know learning that someone has told another person that they have accused you of something serious as this is shocking, and I can understand that anger is a normal reaction. However, he showed absolutely no empathy, no willingness to say sorry, no willingness to take any kind of responsibility. To give you an idea of how unempathetic he is, he once came back into the room he was in with me after taking a call from his friend and told me one of his friends had tried to kill themselves, with absolutely no empathy or sympathy in his voice. No emotion at all. Not even a look of worry on his face. Just blank, just nothing. I hope this is true that he will never contact me again. However, I made another mistake. Before I knew he was a narcissist, I told a couple of his friends about the abuse he put me through. I have been told that once a narcissist are done with you, they are done. However, I have also been told that they always come back, considering that they also get enraged when they find out that you have told other people about their true selves. Do you think that he may try to contact me again when he returns to the country? He left a few months ago to go traveling and will return in January. Thank you for any help you will offer. Again, I know that if he finds out I've told other people, he will insist I am spreading lies, that I am actually the abusive one, that I am the mentally ill one. If he heard or read this email, he would deny everything in it and would use it as a way to demonstrate to people he knows just how horrible I am. He will justify his actions by claiming he's a good person. He will lie. I know that the people he knows will deny it also. They will also say that I'm lying. They will also say that I am the one being horrible. They will think that I am lying because he seems like such a good person who's always there to help, who'd always be there to support. They know a delusion. They know an act. They have played into this false self to the point of believing it entirely. They know a projection of the person he desperately wishes he could be, but no, he is not. As per usual in these kinds of situations, only the partner of the abuser can truly see what they're like inside, because and behind closed doors, whatever. I just want to be sure that that person will never try to contact me again. I've also been thinking about things my narcissist told me. For example, he told me that he had strange dreams about me. In one, I was killed at his house, and in another dream, I remember him telling me about I was anorexic, starving, and unhealthily thin, or something like that. I've heard these kinds of things of dreams are something to worry about if you're with a narcissist. As another channel that covers narcissistic abuse stated, that if the narcissist has dreams of you dying or being seriously injured, it's probably because they want to kill you, or they want you to think they want to kill you. Look, everything you're describing here that he does is a control tactic, is a manipulation tactic. It's the implication of what's going to happen. He rules by implication. Now, he's a 20-year-old douchebag. You're 17. Okay? This should be pretty much a no-brainer for you at this point. Just cut him off. Yes, he's going to try to contact you again. That's what he does. That's what they do. That's what they do. So what you need to do is just not play into it and not contact them and move on. Keep them no contact. Also, the fact that I told him he made me suicidal and he didn't care. Maybe he was happy he did. I've come up with some crazy theory that he may even purposely been doing things I had told him, or that he knew made me very depressed during the relationship, in order to get me to the point where I wanted to take my own life. But this is probably stupid and very unlikely to have been the case. And his behavior of choosing to be friends with and help vulnerable people, people he thinks are below him, and help them, could have been in order to manipulate them into feeding his own ego, only to either badmouth them behind their backs or to use their situations to get sympathy, and in turn use that as a form of narcissistic supply. He doesn't feel empathy, so of course he doesn't care about these people. In terms of the small little things he'd do during our relationship, he'd romantically admire other women in front of me, saying how beautiful they were and how amazing their personalities were. In one case, he said he thought he had a connection with one of them. She was a teacher he found really attractive. And once he told me that he thought of me, I was a lot more attracted to him in his thoughts than in real life. Then told me he never said that I was beautiful. Then told me he never said that I was beautiful the way I was. Maybe I'm just nitpicking, looking for abuse, manipulation, and behavior that isn't that bad at all. Then again, it seemed to be the thing he truly valued most about me was my appearance. So maybe when he said, see attractive people every day, do you really think you're special? He was trying to show me how worthless and disposable I am to him. That's exactly what he was doing. I also thought about the fact that he told me that he didn't think of himself as attractive. And when people told him he'd often deny it, so to make them compliment him even more. For a guy who didn't think he was attractive, he sure took a lot of photos of himself, either with barely any clothes on, shirtless, or in fancy clothes and suits, making pouty facial expressions. A lot of these photos he'd keep to himself and wouldn't get rid of. Anyways, again, something I forgot to mention in the previous email was that after we broke up, my friend told him I might be going to the police about the fact he had sex with me, despite the fact that I was in pain and didn't want to, and didn't respond. So I was wondering what your take on that was in likelihood of him ever contacting me again. I also want to expose him, but I'm not quite sure yet. About the sex thing, it's all about power and control for narcissists. The same thing that drive rape and assault. And I've again come up with a crazy theory that he knew I didn't want it when I told him that it hurt. And he was only gaslighting me when he said he didn't think I expressed that and that I didn't want it, and therefore it was my fault. Thanks, Ollie, for any help or advice you have to offer. Rose. All right. All right, look, Rose. Like I said, you're a young girl. You're 17 years old. There's really no reason for you to be carrying on with this guy at all like this. Believe it or not, your fears of how he's going to act in the future are pretty accurate. He will try to contact you again. He's not done with it. Everything he has done to you, all his tactics, are to make you think you can be replaced. They make you believe you're replaceable. That's how, and that is to devalue your self-esteem, devalue your self-worth in order to have sex with you. That's what he's doing. That's what he's doing. That's why he does what he does. He fishes for compliments. He's probably a good-looking guy, and he knows it. So he says he's not, so he can get the compliments. But look at his Facebook, like you said. Look at how he acts. He acts contradictory to what he says, because it's all about him fishing for compliments and control over you. And he controls you by letting you think you're replaceable, that there are better looking girls than you, that you can be killed with the dream stuff. Everything this guy does is one big gaslight. All of it. So, look, if your friends believe him and not you, all they're telling you is they're not really your friends. All they're telling you is you don't need them in your life and they need to be cut out. So they're doing you a favor. They're doing you a favor. As far as the sexual assault, talk to the police. If you really feel that way, talk to the police and see what they say. See what they say. I mean, if that's what you want to do, that's what I would suggest you do. But you're going to have to, you know what the process is and you know what the deal is with that. But you have to you have to keep in mind you're still so young. You're 17 years old. Okay, you got your whole life ahead of you. Don't invest too much time in losers, in narcissistic losers at 17. Especially ones that only control you through devaluation. So, thank you for your contribution. Thank you for your story. I hope it helps. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover or a narcissist you'd like to expose, you know what to do with my PayPal and the email link in the description box. And remember, when you do send me your story to my email, please put at the top of the email whether it's with or without contribution and what name you'd like to go by. This is Ollie Matthews. Thanks for watching. See you all again soon. Bye.